What's going on Tuesday afternoon? And I'm ready to break down some head-to-head live odds with you. Okay, I've been looking. There's already been some line movement, I just did an interview with our friend Rufus Peabody, professional golf sports bettor. Bets nearly half a million, $750,000 a week on the PGA Tour. Been doing it professionally for like 10 plus years. Smart guy. Um, Kind of gave us a little insight into this. And we haven't dropped the interview yet. It's coming very soon, probably a little bit of bits and pieces of it this week. Full interview coming in the next couple weeks, probably around the Open Championship. And one of the things he talked about was head-to-head matchups and how he looks at those, but he also fires on them, and he fires on them early on Tuesday. He's got his model ready to go. He's waiting to pounce on Tuesday when certain books open the lines. Sharp books. He talked to us about those kind of behind the scenes as well. And so I want to kind of look through some of these lines from these books that have dropped, and I've seen some early movement. Not saying that they're all Rufus Peabody, bets, but it could be, or they could be guys like him and kind of look at them and understand possibly what they could be confirming or shifting our mindset on in terms of DFS, in terms of guys I talked about on the podcast, in terms of guys I'm bullish on, bearish on. Look at ownership, might help you make some decisions in DFS, and just have a live look at it. Maybe even share my screen, look at a few things on Fantasy National as well when it comes to these players. If you have any thoughts about these guys, if you want me to bring up another name, we'll try to do that. I like to keep this show somewhere between 20-25 minutes. I don't want to do it any longer than that. But before I do, I definitely got to thank our friends at Front Nine Coffee. Front9coffee.com is coffee for golfers, and they're local to Augusta, Georgia. Just started up. Great small business to support. I encourage you to do so. They've invested in the Tour Junkies. They love coffee. They love golf. It's a perfect match. So if you love coffee, check it out. Front9coffee.com. That's FRONT, the number 9coffee.com. And promo code TJ10 gets you 10% off any order. Now they have flat rate shipping on orders of $25 or more. You only pay $6 for shipping. They'll ship anywhere in the US and Canada. When you order it, then they'll roast it. It's not already roasted right now, getting stale. It'll be fresh when it hits your door. And it smells and tastes delightful. Trust me, I've been drinking it now for a couple months. So check out a local upstart business here in Augusta, Georgia, Front Nine Coffee. Give them a look, okay? It'd be great for you to do. All right, let's look at some matchups. The first one I want to talk about is a big name, and it's Rory and Scotty Scheffler. Rory has moved from a minus 104 favorite to a plus 108 dog to Scotty Scheffler. Currently projected on Fantasy National ownership projections for Rory and DFS are about 14%. Chef's around 12 or so. I think I don't think as many people are going to end up playing Scheffler. That's at least my thoughts early in the week. I haven't listened to any other podcasts. I haven't dove too deep into ownership projections anywhere outside of Fantasy National for now. But obviously, come Wednesday night, I'll dig into a couple of other websites and kind of see what people are talking about, who people are talking about. I just didn't think a lot of people were going to jump up to Scheffler. I figured they would just go ahead and, if they were going to pay that much, just take Rory, take a little price break in DraftKings and use it somewhere else down the road. But they're coming in around even. But early money going towards Scotty Scheffler here, taking Rory from a slight favorite to now a slight dog. Um, I think that's interesting. I think one thing to consider for Rory, and I don't know if anybody's, this is probably a terrible take, but like, doesn't Rory have a lot on his shoulders right now with this whole live golf stuff? Like he's gonna do the press conference tomorrow and Wednesday. He's gonna get peppered with questions. Everybody's looking to him to be a part of it. I'm sure he was a big part of the meeting with Jay Monahan today on Tuesday. That was a players mandatory meeting. I feel like a lot of pressure is riding on Roy right now, and he's rising to the occasion. Obviously, I mean, winning at the RBC Canadian with a lot of pressure, had a decent finish at the U.S. Open. Obviously, and it still kind of felt like he was out of it, although it was somewhat of I guess you'd call it a backdoor top five yet again for Rory in a major. But I think that's an interesting one because I like Scotty a lot, especially if I can get a little bit of an ownership break on him. Although I'm a little sad to see that he's already kind of creeping up there with Rory for now. I don't know what other websites are saying, whether websites are showing in terms of ownership, but I think I think it'll be interesting to see how it all shakes out in terms of, will people go ahead and play Scotty, or will they just go ahead and play Rory and save a little bit of cash? Yes, Brent Harris in the chat. That's funny. Rory is like Angela Bassett, waiting to exhale. I'm sure he is. He's not going to get to exhale anytime soon. All right, so I thought that one was interesting. Um, a, a, Another most of these lines moved on some of these more smaller to mid-price names, but I'll try to hit the higher price guys first in terms of DFS. Sung Jae went from -122. This one surprised me. Sung Jae opened up a -122 favorite over Joaquin Niemann. He is now a -140 favorite over Joaquin Niemann. To me, that's surprising given the miscut from Sung Jae last week. Niemann finishes 47th. Niemann's been playing fantastic. Sung Jae's been playing fantastic outside of the miscut last week at the U.S. Open, but I talked about it on the podcast. He missed the cut by a stroke at the U.S. Open. That could be due to a lot of different things that are beyond our control sometimes. I mean, I just played a bunch of golf in Scotland, and if there's anything it taught me, not that Brookline was anything like playing over in Scotland, but if it taught me anything like firm and fast and difficult golf course. I mean, I played Carnoustie. I played the old course in wind. I played Kings Barnes in very windy conditions. I played much harder golf courses than I normally do, and I'm no tour player. But what it teaches me is that like a little bit of a roll here and there, or just slightly being off here and there on one shot, can definitely cost you. And I'm not gonna sweat the miscut from Sung Jae last week. Currently, Sung Jae's projected around 14%, Neiman around 16%. But I mean, I'm surprised that Sung Jae is that much of a favorite over Joaquin Niemann, a -140 favorite. To me, I mean, if I were betting head-to-head lines, I would actually love to jump on that -140 line. I think that's a fantastic value for a guy like Joaquin Niemann, who's such a stud. Brent's asking, is M Rusty still with the schedule getting rocked around in the COVID PGA? I don't think he is. I mean, we got to remember how young Sung J M is, right? Like he's a young MFer, and I mean, after he got back to the states after COVID, 15th at the Schwab, 10th at the Memorial, week off at the Canadian, miscut 2 rounds at the U.S. Open, like no big deal. I don't mind it whatsoever. I don't think it has anything to do with the schedule and the COVID situation. I just don't believe that's an issue. Let's take a look at some of the things here on Sung Jae. Let's see. Sung Jae on Fantasy National here. Um, good total driver of the golf ball. I love that here. We've talked about this with Sung Jae in the last few weeks. He's just a guy that does everything well. I mean, look at all of his measured PGA Tour shot length tournaments here. Green in every single category. The miscut at the U.S. Open, he still gained strokes. You know, let's see what he's done at the Travelers. I don't remember off the top of my head his record here. Not a great record at the Travelers, 58th and 21st. The 58th, I don't really give a whole lot of credit to being it was the summer after the COVID restart, whatever. 21st in 2019. But I mean, Sung Jae is just he's just going to do everything well, and this feels like a course where you can take a guy who doesn't necessarily hit it a freaking mile, but he's plenty long enough. So I don't know. I like the value in the head to head on Neiman, but if Sungjae is going to be the lower projected player, I actually think I love that in DFS. $9,700. I'm all in on Sungjae there for sure in DFS. Nick says dude was on the range all weekend after the missed cut. Maybe, but I mean, if you look at what he did, let's pull him up for the U.S. Open in round one. So in round one, he was a little off on the approach play. It was weird to see. He lost two shots just in round one. But then in round two, he bounced back and finished plus 0.62 shots on approach and missed it by a shot. Like, and wasn't it who was the guy that like made it in on the number? Didn't McCarthy make it in on the number in terms of the cut line at the U.S. Open, and then he finishes what seventh or fifth or whatever it was? I mean, anything can happen once these guys make the weekend. The long term player that is Sung Jae is a tremendous ball striker, and I think he's a great course fit for this place. So I'm not sweating it. DB, did you try the Guinness and black? I did not. I did not try the Guinness and black. I had a ton of Guinness in Scotland, but I didn't have the Guinness and Black. And yes, I am back in the Nut Hut on Wednesday night. I will be doing the second shift, the later shift's my daughter's birthday, so we're going out that evening. Pat will get it started. I'm going to come in after. I can't wait to chat it up in the Nut Hut. All right, let's look at another head to head that I'm looking at here. I thought this one was interesting. Webb Simpson opened up as a -135 favorite, pretty big favorite over Maverick McNeely. Now he is -158. So somebody out there, or maybe a few head-to-head bettors out there, definitely not believing Maverick McNeely is the way to go here, and that Webb is worth the play. Now, both these guys projected to be kind of lower owned players. Webb around 9% on Fantasy National, Mav McNeely around 5%. Do we believe that Webb is, is all there and back? I mean, I guess we probably should. He's played plenty of tournaments. He's played plenty of golf, and he's done okay. 20th at Southern Hills, 27th at Colonial. Missed the cut last week. Let's see what he did last week in terms of his round. So he's another one that missed the cut on the number. Round one, actually gained strokes across the board in every category in round one. It's kind of average off the tee, average putting. Round two, lost some strokes off the tee. So he got a little wayward off the tee. But again, that could have been one or two tee shots at a place like that. It's a very fine line. So I'm not really sweating Simpson. On the flip side, let's take a look at Mav. I want to share my screen here for McNeely. And we all know, like, I'm a huge Maverick McNeely fan, long term, big fan of Mav McNeely. Love his trajectory as a player. I do think he's going to win on the PGA Tour. Just don't know if it's going to be this week. Not known to be highly accurate. Plenty of distance. I don't, bent grass, not probably his greatest surface, but there's definitely been a little bit of a yeesh right here. Like, the ball striking has seemingly fallen off here when we look at Mav, how consistent he was for most of this PGA Tour season, definitely the beginning of 2022, both off the tee and a little more so with the irons. Now, here he had a little lull in the irons we see here, and then it obviously, then he comes back, bing, bang, boom, a couple of decent weeks. The putter has always been something that he's had to lean on a little bit when the ball striking gets a little squirrely. But then to see Mav miss the U.S. Open qualifier by a lot, like, he missed it by a lot. I mean, it wasn't even close. He was getting beat by guys that you've never heard of, that I've never heard of. I don't love that for Mav, and maybe I don't know that this is really a course for him either off the tee. It's not going to let him unleash driver, and he's not gonna do well if he misses by too much. These fairways are 4 or 5 yards wider than average on the PGA Tour, but the rough can be penal. The rough is brutal here. So with his sometimes tendency to kind of spray it. I don't know. And smallish greens, you got to hit them in high green and reg numbers. With the irons being a little sus at the moment, somebody, some big head-to-head better believes that Webb Simpson is in play, and he's going to give you some leverage right now. I mean, 9% owned on Webb. I think could present some sure leverage. I mean, 8,500 in this field. I think this is going to be starting that range I talked about on the podcast last night. I think below Brian Harmon, this, like, mid to low eights is going to be a dead range. So he can give you a little bit of value, a little bit of pivot here in DFS. And yes, Nick, Mav was everyone's darling 2 months ago, but as I showed on the screen, like, if you look at it, there's reasons why, but it's kind of seemingly vanished a little bit for now. Again, long term, I'm very very bullish, very optimistic on Mav, but yeah, I'm not. I don't know. I think I kind of agree with this movement here. All right, so we talked about those. Let's go to my boy Brendan Todd. Now, this is I'm a Brendan Todd guy this week. I said this is the most Todd week I've ever felt in my life, and I noticed some line movement against my favorite, my all time favorite, Siwoo Kim. Brendan Todd started. Let's see, he was plus 107. He's moved to plus 100. So still a dog to Siwoo, but somebody liked him and it moved it about 7 spots there. So two plus 100 from plus 107 against Siwoo. Brendan Todd projected around 10 to 12%. Siwoo around 9%. I love Brendan Todd this week. I really do. So this is one of those lines I look at and go, okay, this confirms what I'm feeling. I like the way this course sets up for him. I like that, this is a tournament that I'm sure he has to look at and go, all right, this is an opportunity for me, the short knocker. Like, I have to take advantage when we get weeks like this. Didn't play in the U.S. Open, well rested. Siwoo Kim played in the U.S. Open, missed the cut, didn't play that great. Um, Both men have some good years here at the Travelers at TPC River Highlands, and both have some missed cuts. But all in all, I do see this as an event better off for Brendan Todd, as much as I love Siwoo Kim. So this one really confirmed the Brendan Todd affection for me. I'll be interested to see if that line continues to move and if B Todd gets into that minus favorite territory. That'll be interesting. All right, and then as we continue to work down the board, I noticed a couple other kind of names in this mid range or low sevens, mid sevens range. Cameron Tringali opened up as a minus 126 favorite against Seabez. That one kind of surprised me because I mean I liked Seabez on the show last night. I was talking about him. I think this is a good fit for him. He's well rested. Tringali did play very well at the U.S. Open, 14th at the U.S. Open. Um, but before that we've seen Tringali kind of you know not be as good, not be like the consistent Tringali that we were seeing. Seabez is $400 more expensive at 7,800. He's been playing pretty well, but now Tringali has moved from a minus 126 favorite to a minus 141 favorite over Seabez, and currently Seabez ownership projected around 8 or 9%, Tringali around 5%. Um, so I don't that one surprised me a little bit. What do you guys think about Tringali and Seabez? Let's take a look at let's look at old Seabez here. Let's share the screen. Let's go to Fantasy National. Take a look and see old Christian Bezadenhout. Definitely not a long hitter, but very accurate. Love that about this place for him. This is going to be one of those places. I mean, the driving distance average here is extremely low. It's like 284 yards or something like that. It's very, very low. You can't hit it that far here. You can work it. You can cut corners if you're like a super bomber. That can definitely happen. But this will suit Seabez just fine. I'll have plenty of wedges in. I mean, look at how consistent he's been in 2022. 17th at the Sony, another course that rewards more precision. 14th at Pebble, another course that rewards precision. But then even when he goes to courses where guys can tend to overpower, Honda, Arnold Palmer, 25th and 20th, 12th at the Byron Nelson, 15th at Colonial. Love that about Seabez. I just feel like he's more consistent. I was surprised to see Tringali moving as that big of a favorite over Seabez. I kind of feel like this is one of those where I just disagree. But maybe this is why I'm not a sharp better. So, I'm not a sharp head to head better. Maybe that's what it is. All right, one last line to look at here to keep us within 20 minutes, and it's Tom Hoagy and Cam Davis. I had people asking me about Cam Davis in the chat last night. Hoagy opened up as a minus 147 favorite. Now he is a minus 169 favorite over Cam Davis. That's quite the spread. Okay, quite the spread. Let's look at what Tom Hoagy. Now, Tom Hoagy has not been playing well, this is a great example, I think, and this is something we talked about with Rufus Peabody: long-term form and short-term form. He talked about one of the mistakes that bettors and DFS players tend to make is they weight short-term form way too much, and they don't weight long-term form and long-term like who is this guy, who is he as a player, course fit quite enough. So let's take a look at let's see, let's pull up these guys. Hoagie and who did I say? Dave. Oh yeah, Cam Davis. So I love Cam Davis. Special place in my heart. 150 to 1 outright winner at the Rocket Mortgage. Obviously love the guy. But let's take a look here real quick. Tom Hoagie. Bring him up first. Hollywood Hoagie. Now he sucks on bent grass. That is no good. He does suck on bent grass. But I mean, look at the drop off here. Here he is on the win. We kind of could see the win coming. Look at his, the start to his PGA Tour season in 2021 was very solid. And then you can see the win getting there at Pebble Beach. By the way, winning at Pebble Beach, a shorter course, small greens, similar to here. And then everything's kind of, it's kind of leaked. He's leaked a little bit of oil, which a guy who wins for the first time on the PGA Tour can definitely do. Don't love that he's lost this kind of strokes off the tee. The irons still seem to kind of be in there a little bit, and the putter has been better lately. Let's take a look at the where he's losing strokes off the tee here. I'm assuming it's accuracy. Well, actually, it's distance. It's actually more distance here lately, and accuracy, which isn't good. But long term, you would see here he tends to be more of an accurate player than he does, a long hitter. I know actually now that I think about it, his coach Scott Hamilton's a friend of ours. I do remember now a few weeks ago he's working on adding distance. And that could be throwing him off. That could be throwing things off for sure for Tom Hoagie. I don't know if I love that right now. Yeah, Nick says Hoagie's been breaking my heart in DFS since Pebble. It is. I hear you. Let's take a look at Davis. I mean, Davis, I it's not that obviously bombers can play really well here. DJ, Phil, Bubba, all winners here. Brendan Steele, great record here. All long hitters. It's not that they can't play well, but Cam Davis isn't, Bubba or DJ when they won here. Like he's a good player, but he's not those guys. I would much rather tend to play Cameron Davis on a golf course that he can really unleash. He does putt really well on bent grass greens. We see that here. Um, and the irons have been extremely consistent. Here he is at the RBC Heritage, a course that definitely took driver out of his hand, finishing third. Colonial can sometimes take driver out of your hand, finishing seventh. So, I mean, hell, maybe I'm completely wrong. Maybe I'm completely wrong. Finished 27th at the Sony. That's pretty good. But I mean, that's a massive number for Hoagie to be minus 169 over Cam Davis, despite missing cuts in his last three events. And seeing what Cam Davis is doing here, somebody, some big time player, their model loves them some Tom Hoagie. It's interesting. That's an interesting matchup. Both men projected around 8% on Fantasy National. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know about that one. That one might be a wait and see. All right, that's some head-to-head matchups, some early line movement I'm seeing. There'll be more discussion about this line movement in the Chalk Bomb email on Wednesday afternoon, evening. Be sure and subscribe to that if you haven't already, and go to tourjunkies.com/chalkbomb. And I believe it's in the description of this video as well. It's 2 free weekly emails that you have to get. I mean, they're free. There's a ton of content in them every single week, from my favorite Prize Picks round one plays that are really hot right now, to Pontificate with Pat just to make you laugh, head-to-head matchup betting analysis, and obviously the Chalk Bomb selection of the week, and the 10 facts gets dropped in the heavy petting email every single Tuesday as well. So, all right, that's it for me. Thank you. Give it a thumbs up. Give the video a like, a comment. Tell me what you think. Any of these lines interest you? Any of these lines make you think about somebody differently? Are there lines that you see out there that you think are interesting in terms of DFS, or just to bet straight up on head-to-head matchups? Let me know. Subscribe to the channel, and let's have a great week. Bend over your bookie, and may your screens be green. See ya.